Welcome to the 27th week after Pentecost. It is Monday, November the 25th, 2024. This is the Manna at the Tap podcast, where we actively seek the spiritual nourishment our souls crave. The daily lectionary reading we explore together is the Manna, designed to nurture our spiritual growth and provide the sustenance our souls need. I'm Gloria, your fellow traveler on this spiritual journey, and together we share insights and interpretations from these readings that enrich our spiritual lives. The country of Israel that David had united and that his son Solomon had kept together has now fallen apart again, with 10 tribes in the north and 2 tribes in the south with their own kings. The Assyrians invaded the northern kingdom of 10 tribes, and many of those people were taken into captivity. Manasseh was the king of the southern kingdom, known for doing evil in God's sight. And after Assyria besieged Jerusalem, but it could not conquer Jerusalem, Manasseh aligned himself politically with them, paying them bribes to keep the peace. He reigned as king for 55 years, more than any other king over Judah. He's remembered as one of the worst kings because he shed much innocent blood and sacrificed one of his sons. Although the Assyrians could not conquer Judah, the people in Judah, though, began to practice the religion of the Assyrians in the very temple that Solomon had built. And when Manasseh died, his policies were continued by his son Amon, who reigned for only 2 years before he was assassinated. The lectionary reading today is an extraordinary story of lost and found. The reading is 2 Kings 23, verses 15 to 25, and the same story can be found in 2 Chronicles chapter 34. After Ammon's assassination, his 8-year-old son, Josiah, whose name means God has healed, became king. His mother's name was Jedidah, which means lovely. 8-year-old Josiah, with the help of his mother, Jedidah, began seeking God to bring about spiritual reforms. He was aided by the prophetess Huldah, whose husband was the dry cleaner for the royal court. Manasseh, Josiah's grandfather, had allowed the temple to fall into disrepair, and Josiah began a financial campaign to repair it. While cleaning up the temple, one of the priests found a part of the book of Deuteronomy. He read it, but it didn't seem important, so he left it. Someone else mentioned the document to Josiah, and unable to read and understand it for himself, he sent the document to Huldah. The lost book of the law was found during the renovation of the temple. Most scholars agree that the scroll addressed the core chapters of Deuteronomy, chapters 12 to 26. When Josiah heard the word of the Lord from Huldah, he tore his clothes as a sign of his commitment to being changed by the word of God. He wanted to be formed and reformed by paying attention to what the Word of God was saying to the nation and to him. Josiah removed all the articles belonging to Baal, and he burnt them outside Jerusalem. He also removed idolatrous priests and replaced them with priests that he appointed. He rid the town of idols, superstitions, child sacrifice, and cult prostitution. He demolished the altars and burnt the high places of the idols. Thus Josiah fostered true worship of the Lord, which his grandfather Manasseh had prevented. Josiah reformed the people's worship life, centering on the first of the Ten Commandments, and that is to worship the Lord only and have no other gods. Josiah did not want to be like his grandfather Manasseh, but he did model his life after his great grandfather Hezekiah. Both Hezekiah and Josiah are among Judah's best kings. Josiah called the people to celebrate the Passover to the Lord, which had not occurred for many years. This celebration had been lost and was now found again. The lectionary reading tells how the people of God lost their way and their story, which was hidden in the temple. Thus, it was easy to follow the gods of the Assyrians, but once Josiah found the scroll and understood God's story, he invited the people to celebrate the Passover, which speaks of their liberation. This is the story of a community that lost its way, and through the wisdom of a prophetess named Huldah, rediscovered and found its way back to God. The community followed the prescription, obeyed the instructions, and celebrated that the Word of God is a source of faith and the Word of God is life-giving.